Rudy, Rudy, Rudy may be the cheer that will go up inside of a federal penitentiary because Rudy Giuliani, the disgraced MAGA lawyer for Donald Trump, is hiding his assets from a federal judge in New York who's not too pleased and wants him to appear on Thursday at a hearing in New York. I'm Michael Popok. You're on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF. Let me tell you how we got here. Judge Lyman, who is the judge presiding over the $150 million judgment that Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, those poor Fulton County election workers who were defamed and suffered punitive damages and all, or suffered emotional distress and were awarded punitive damages against Rudy Giuliani. They've been trying to collect that $150 million judgment for over a year. And as I've reported before, Rudy ran to bankruptcy court. That failed. Then the lawyers for Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss took their paper judgment and got assigned to Judge Lyman in New York to execute on the judgment. He held a hearing and he said, all right, what's your assets? And they were listed. And he ordered, after a series of hearings and due process, he ordered Rudy Giuliani by last week, deadline that has come and gone, to turn over all of his assets, except for the apartment in Florida, which he's still getting to the bottom of, over to Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss directly. He deputized Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss. He made them their own receiver with their lawyers to go collect their own assets from Rudy. What he didn't tell the judge is while he was appearing in court with his lawyers a few weeks ago, he was busy cleaning out the New York apartment and taking all of the watches and jewelry and artwork and everything else that had been ordered restrained by the judge to be turned over to Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss. So while Rudy was busy at Madison Square Garden with that hate-filled Nazi-like rally with Donald Trump, his people were busy emptying out the apartment on East 66th Street. That's a no-no, especially when the judge has ordered those assets have a restraint on them and they can't be moved or secreted. So Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss's lawyers got into the apartment finally on East 66th Street in order to collect up all the material and all the assets, and it was empty. Old dining room table, a couple of old broken chairs and other things, but they moved out. They moved out. They didn't tell the judge, and that's the major problem, because those assets could not have been moved with the judge's order over them, period. And so we got a number of problems all in a row. One, Rudy moved assets that were the subject of a restraining order away from the jurisdiction or put them somewhere else to keep them away from his creditors who have a legal right to obtain them. He's violated the receivership order. He's violated the restraining order, and he and his lawyers have gone dark. This is all in a report, in a letter that was filed by Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, in which they're informing Judge Lyman not only did the Rudy Giuliani violate your turnover order and not turn over everything that he was supposed to on the date certain. We barely got into this apartment, but when we got there, everything's gone, Judge. The shelves are empty. So he also moved everything out without telling the judge, and also it has been in New York a couple of times, including for the Madison Square Garden event, obviously also to empty out his apartment. This is all bad. This is all what we call in the business contempt of court. You violated a court order. So the judge took what was going to be sort of a check-in phone call on Thursday and converted it into a mandatory appearance and an order for Rudy Giuliani to appear. Now, could he fail to appear? Sure, Elon Musk just failed to appear in a Philadelphia court of pleas. Would I try that trick with a federal judge in New York? Probably not. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Rudy Giuliani lost both of his bar licenses, used to be the big bad U.S. attorney for Manhattan. Now he's indicted in Arizona and Georgia and facing going to jail for not turning over all of his worldly possessions to Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss. And I don't think Judge Lyman is going to be happy based on his order, which I will read to you now. After he got the status conference report, this is what he had to say. In light of the status report provided by plaintiffs, the court orders that the status conference, currently set to occur by telephone on Thursday, November 7th at 12 p.m., instead will be an in-person in the courtroom at 15C at the 500 Pearl Street Courthouse. The defendant, which is Rudy, is ordered to appear in person. So that's sort of where we're at right now. Traditional bed sheets, they can harbor more bacteria than a toilet seat. It can lead to acne, allergies, and stuffy noses, and it's just gross. Miracle Made offers a whole line of self-cleaning, antibacterial bedding, such as sheets, pillowcases, and comforters that prevent up to 99.7% of bacteria growth and require up to 3 times less laundry. Using silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, no matter the weather. So you get better sleep every night. Miracle sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands and feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some 5-star hotels. Stop sleeping on bacteria. Bacteria can clog your pores, causing breakouts and acne. Sleep clean with Miracle. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. Go to trymiracle.com/legalaf to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo, LegalAF, at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/legalaf and use the code LegalAF to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/legalaf to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. Now, what do I think is going to happen? I think the judge is, if Rudy shows up, I think the judge is going to find him in contempt. I think the judge is going to fine him an amount of money. I think the judge is going to give him, let's say, 24 hours to turn over everything that he was ordered to turn over. I also, within, let's say, that 24-hour period. Failing that, the U.S. Marshals are going to be ordered to take him into custody and put him in the federal detention center. I've been to the federal detention center for clients. It's not very fun. It's got a vending machine and everybody's wearing a jumpsuit. So you can imagine what that's going to be like. And that's if Rudy appears. If Rudy doesn't appear, like Elon Musk failed to appear, then the federal judge will order the federal marshals on a warrant, a bench warrant, to go pick up Rudy Giuliani and also bring him to jail. Now, I'm also shocked at Rudy's dragging his feet here on turning over all of his things. He can't stop it with an appeal, just to answer some questions I know will come up, because in order to stop the execution of the judgment for an appeal, you have to post what's called a supersedious bond, which is a bond in the amount of the judgment or close to it, and he doesn't have that kind of money. So he can't stop it. He's got to turn all of these assets over. I'm just surprised he's screwing with Judge Lyman, because Judge Lyman has one more major decision to make, which is whether his Palm Beach condo near Mar-a-Lago is what's called homestead protected under Florida law, which is a way for Florida debtors to put a ring fence around certain assets like their home, particularly their home, to avoid it going over to creditors. That's why a lot of deadbeat debtors live in Florida in big houses, because that's where all their money is, and it's protected under Florida law. But this judge is the one that's going to make the decision, this federal judge, and now he's got a person in front of him that is obviously flouting his rules, being contumacious, acting in contempt, and can't be trusted. I think that would have the judge bend over backwards to find that the condo in Florida is not homestead protected, and that should be sold and turned over to Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss too, leaving effectively Rudy Giuliani homeless because of his own misdeeds and misconduct. I mean, we got to follow this case because justice is only served when people get judgments that aren't just pieces of paper, but when they're properly executed on and assets are turned over, and bad debtors and bad people like Rudy Giuliani, because that's what we got to call him what he is, are brought to justice. And that's why, as we move into the election season and the other side of Tuesday, we created this new channel with the MeidasTouch network called Legal AF, at the intersection of law and politics. If you think the federal courts aren't going to be working and state courts aren't going to be working overtime between after election day and beyond, if Donald Trump goes off to a crushing defeat, you better have your head examined, or at least subscribe to Legal AF, because we're going to be covering everything that happens as Donald Trump tries to force his way into the White House, even after the electorate says we don't want you there. And you can follow it all on Legal AF on the MeidasTouch network, and our YouTube channel there, Legal AF MTN. So we're going to continue to follow. I'll do a follow-up hot take like this one after the Thursday court-ordered appearance comes and goes for Rudy Giuliani, and I'll report back as to exactly how Judge Lyman, who I don't think is going to find any humor in any of this, he comes from a long line of very great lawyers. Judge Lyman's father, Arthur Lyman, was the lawyer's lawyer, one of the greatest white-collar criminal defense lawyers in New York history, in the U.S. history. Arthur Lyman, very well respected. I've met him a couple of times myself, know people that worked with him. And so this is the family business, and you don't F with Judge Lyman or any Lyman. And I think Rudy Giuliani is going to find that out very, very, very quickly. I'll report on it here on Legal AF and on the MeidasTouch network. So until my next hot take or my next exclusive content over on Legal AF, the YouTube channel, I'm Michael Popok, and I am reporting. In collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.